We received this game in exchange for our honest review. Dungeons, comedy, and great combat. Some would call that a recipe for success. In the case of Dungeons of Naheulbeuk, the Amulet of Chaos, all of those elements culminate into a great experience, which is suddenly brought to an end by a poor choice in the form of a default setting. I want to start this review off by saying I had a fun time playing this turn-based tactical dungeon crawler. The art style reminds me of a perfect marriage between Fable and Sea of Thieves. Characters are brought to life with a cartoonish design, accompanied with mostly stellar voice acting. I'm looking at you, elf. Your adventure takes you through the floors of the Dungeon of Naheulbeuk in search of a statuette, all while dealing with a very pesky amulet that has you running around waiting for its next trick. This rugged crew brings a very adult tone and presents opportunity for some good comedy that usually made me smirk rather than roll my eyes. Some jokes miss, but its snarky humor had me entertained. The usual suspects form our clan: dwarf, mage, ogre, etc. And later in the game you get to choose an additional character for the remainder of your playthrough. Combat is satisfying when you declare a victory. Controlling your crew feels great, and each member has a distinct battle style. Preparing for battle allows you to start a plan of attack, allowing you to position your members before the fight begins. Some characters might knock over enemies or move them back tiles, like the ogre. Others might focus on full frontal attacks, like the dwarf. But one in particular, the barbarian, felt too weak for its class, and I honestly didn't like playing as him. But he's really the only one I had an issue with. Battles last a while, and that's a good thing because the combat is engaging and challenging. Character animations are thought out and keep you engaged while you watch your turn play out. As you win fights and loot floors, you unlock skills and gear. The range of equipment is pretty impressive, which leads to the possibility of very unique builds and spending hours in the menu. This combat, along with the Fable-esque art style, may be the biggest contributor in why it feels so good to be in this world. It's a shame a default setting completely halted my experience in continuing my adventure. About 7 hours into the game, I really felt the heat our enemies could bring, and I fell in glorious battle. It wasn't the first time, but it ended up being the most important time. Autosaves are not a strange thing when it comes to gaming. However, the autosave in Dungeons of Naheulbeuk is so strange, I still scratch my head trying to figure out how it got into the current build of the game. For whatever reason, the autosave default setting, which can be changed in the menu, is set to save every 15 minutes. The game can only hold 3 saves per profile and will actually rewrite your manual saves in order to store a current autosave. Since combat can last quite a long time, as I stated earlier, I was eventually trapped in a losing battle with no save to load prior to the fight because the game has autosaved itself into a losing scenario. First off, it's never the right choice to make a save system that will actually rewrite manual saves without asking if you would like to rewrite that file. Secondly, I think this just hurts more knowing that this was a default setting chosen by the developers, and it's not necessarily an accident. This is the build of the game. I would never think to go into the menu to change an autosave timer in order to make sure my save wouldn't become useless. Sadly, due to this fact, I probably won't be revisiting Dungeons of Naheulbeuk for quite some time. I enjoyed the game, but not enough to replay the 7.5 hours I lost. Everything I said about what I enjoyed still stands. A part of me wishes I could have experienced every hit or miss joke the dwarf could have blurted out. Dungeons of Naheulbeuk has a lot of great qualities, and I would go as far as saying the product is definitely worth the price tag, but no price can justify an unusable save file and lost time. If you play this title, I hope you go into your settings and change the mistake that was able to make it into the game before you get trapped in a loss. It's very rare a default option has the chance of ruining a really fun experience. Maybe it was the amulet playing its trick on me. I give Dungeons of Naheulbeuk a 7 out of 10. Thanks for joining me today. If you enjoyed this review, please like and subscribe and share the video. I really appreciate you. Geeks World out.